Hey guys, how's it going? Maniac Mower here. Did a video recently on the 68. For those of you who are new, we worked on the clutch. We were trying to figure out what was going on with the variator. We ended up replacing, I can't remember what we replaced, but we replaced a piece that was on the variator. It was a spring, and we put the new one underneath of it, and it still has an issue. It still had an issue, but it did do a lot better than it was before. A few things I have in mind is my buddy Mike had a similar situation to this with his 216. It's a 200 series, but it's basically the same as a 100 series when it comes to the belts. Right there's my 216 and there's my 73. They're virtually the exact same when it comes to their belts. So what I am going to be doing is I pulled a belt off of my thing. This is a good belt. This came off, I don't remember what this came off, but it's still good. It is a John Deere belt, as you can see right there. So what I am going to do is I'm going to put it on here. I do not recommend using used belts. I've got a whole bunch of used belts over here, so that's what I'm going to use. By the way, I have been asked previously, no, this air compressor is not for sale. The sign is there because I had it on a ladder rack that I had for sale, the one that I ended up, where are those engines? Trading off for some engines. I think it moved. So, oh, there it is. They were on that table. That's where they went. That's where that sign is from. So for those of you wondering, no, that air compressor is not for sale. I was asked, so I thought I'd make a note about that. So let's go on ahead and we will take a look into the 68 and see what the problem is. I'm going to pull it out. Another thing I also want to do is the patio has a brand new carburetor on it. I want to take that carburetor off of it and put it on here because this engine this carburetor that's on here, it just does not do too well. So that's what the plan is. So let's go on ahead and we'll pull it out and take a look at it. Okay everybody, I am back on the 68. It is a few days later. I have been cleaning up out here, as you guys all can see. I still got to work on that spot right there. I just kind of threw things over there. But you can see I pulled the air compressor out and I'm cleaned up behind it. I should have done a time lapse on doing this. Let me know if you want to see a time lapse on the big room and I'll do one. I think I'm going to mess with that one too. Not quite sure. But this is my progress right now on this room. It wasn't too bad in here. What I am going to do is we are going to take a look at the belt on here and try to find out why exactly the engine is slipping. The belt is slipping. I've tried adjusting the variator like I've talked about. This is a few days later, so I got to remember what exactly all happened in the last video. And then another issue that I've been having with this tractor is it's been leaking. I ended up fixing that yesterday off camera. I took the fuel shutoff out and I put a new line up here and a new fuel filter. The fuel filter it had before was cheap. It was free, so it stayed on. It did the job pretty good, but unfortunately it leaked and it had some other issues. So I think the fuel line was to blame for that, but the line was so stuck onto it when I went to pull the line off of it, this top piece came off and the filter element came out and this fell. I actually have it sitting in here right now. I can show you. Let me grab it. But yeah, this room is next to be cleaned. This is it right here. We'll go in the other room. This is it right here. You can see it's come apart. That's the element in there, and then on bottom it's got that little metal piece. So pretty cool little thing. I'm gonna keep it around and just because why not? Maybe I'll end up fixing it. Let me put you guys in the tripod and we'll take a look into this guy and we will just see what we can find. Another thing that I figured out was on the 73, You guys, I know, remember when I did the video where we did the starter and also the other stuff I worked on here. I never adjusted the variator on this tractor, and I figured that out yesterday, and I completely forgot about it. It slipped my mind. So we're gonna have to do a variator adjustment on it. I was with it. I took it out into the swamp, and I had the trailer hooked up, and I was picking sticks up that had fallen. And this was right after I mowed with it last time you guys saw it, and my belt was slipping, and I was trying to figure out why. And because this was right after I washed it too, so I thought, well, maybe that's why, because I washed it. But I don't ever remember the belt slipping because I washed it, and it didn't seem to smell, and it didn't seem like it was on there too tight either, because I could see it through that cover if you look at it right. And so it wasn't moving at all. And I remembered I never adjusted the variator, so I'm hoping that's the problem, so I will end up adjusting the variator on it later. I thought I had already adjusted it, but I guess not, so that's next. Since we were talking about variators on the 68, I thought I'd bring that up too. So, okay, let's go on ahead and take a look at this guy and see what we have. Another thing I am going to most likely end up doing on here is we're going to take a look at we're going to take a look at the carburetor on here. As you guys, if you don't remember, or if you're new, I was talking about putting the carburetor on here from the patio, because that's got a brand new carburetor on it, and that came off easy. This one's a pretty old carburetor, and I think it might be wore out, so that's next to do. Is there anything else on here other than I should engage the parking brake before I do anything. Let me engage the brake. Yeah, I don't think that should go down as far as it does. That loosened up here, right? I think it did. Or did that make it? Yeah, that did. Wow, that's pretty loose. It's really loose. So, okay. One thing that you will have to do, I didn't have to on here, but there's going to be a guard back there that holds the PTO clutch on. You won't be able to take the PTO clutch off unless you take that guard off. I already took that guard off. I did that the last engine swap. So for those of you wondering, that's why I don't have one. I'm gonna have to I'm gonna have to take the parking brake off again, because I have to. The rear belt's tight. Somebody messaged me. I'm gonna have to look at that here in a little bit. So take that parking brake off, and I'll bring you guys back once I do that. And also I need to grab another chair. Got that belt popped off there. I don't think it looks too bad at all. You can see, well, I guess that could be the cause for why it's having so many issues. When I say it doesn't look too bad at all, I mean, it doesn't look as bad as I thought it did. Thought it would. Do I have a good belt? How's this? This one looks like it might work. Does this have a John Deere? That actually looks... This isn't a John Deere belt, actually. Look at that. That's not a John Deere belt. This is. It's got measurements though. 5, 6. It's in the John Deere belt. I have no idea what it is. It looks like some aftermarket belt. I can tell you right now the John Deere belts might be longer. That might not even be the right belt. I don't know. We'll see though. We'll find out. That over there. You know, another thing it could be it wasn't. This is wider than that other one is, so this might grab onto the sides a little bit better. That looks... We'll find out, I guess. I know I'm gonna have people tell me I should just buy new belts, but I want to make sure that that's the problem first. Because I've always had variator trouble with this tractor. But I want to make sure I figured out what it is before I do that. That one easy. Yeah, that variator is going to need to be adjusted, but I can do that later. Let's see. I'll go on ahead and pop this belt back on, this rear belt, and then yeah, I have that on the right. There we go. Yeah, that's going to need to be adjusted, or just ran altogether. Got that belt swapped though. Let me go on ahead and we'll do a variator adjustment on it, and we'll see if that solves our issue. Get all this stuff off the hood. That needs to go upstairs. I am going to keep my word though on, I do want this place clean. I've just gotten tired of working in a dump. So it just takes that one decision to finally want to do something, and I've decided I want to do something. So we're going to put the variator at the 5th notch, 3 from the back, or yeah, 3 from here and 5 from here. Let's try that. Ready? Pull your spark plug wire off. Oh, dumbass, I need to loosen that bolt. I'm going to walk you guys, I guess, step by step on how to do the variator adjustment. This one right here you want to loosen. Then what you're going to do is turn the engine over until your foot pedal comes up all the way. I'll show you guys that. I got to do this on the 73 later. The foot pedal actually looks to be up all the way, but let's go on ahead and make sure it is. Ready? Now it is. So there's my ratchet. Then you'll tighten that back down. I don't know why it comes up like that, but it does. It's actually down a lot more than it usually is, so that might be a good thing. There we go. And that belt's tight. Is it? Yeah, it is. Bring you guys back over here so we can put the clutch on. And once we get the PTO clutch put back on and everything, they're done, we should be able to test it. Now, I really don't want to put gas in this tractor, because if I do, then I'm going to have to drain it out. Because I don't trust this tractor with gas because it leaks. Maybe we can fix that today. It does need the carburetor changed. We could probably do that in this video. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull the variator back all the way, and we're going to see. It might have gas in the line. It might, well, nah. Let's go on ahead, and I'll just put it in second gear, make it easy on it, and then pull the variator back all the way and make sure it does what I want it to. Ready? Which it does, so. Yeah, don't drive your tractor like that for too long, because that's not good for your starter. So, what do we want to do next? Let's go on ahead. I don't quite know if I want to pop that carburetor off just yet or not. Well, I guess we can do a variator adjustment on the 73. Let's do that. Sometimes more than other times there's going to be a panel right here that you pull off. This is my 73 112 and mine has one here. As you can see, I just pulled it off. And then same as that other one, this is your variator adjustment knob. That's the thing right there. Just pull that down and then we'll pop the spark plug wire off here quick. And now, grab my 3/4 socket, loosen that, then we'll do the same exact thing we did over there. You don't want the engine to run. I don't quite understand why, because I think the engine running would be better than the starter doing all the work, but again, I'm not the one who came up with this, so I really can't say much about it. Let me take you guys over there and then we'll spin the engine over until that clutch pedal comes up all the way. Okay, you guys ready? Let's see if this clutch pedal comes up all the way. Sometimes you gotta give it a pull on this tractor. About it right there. So I don't know if doing that's recommended or not, but you have to with this tractor, so that's just the way I'm going to do it. And I'm going to tighten this down. There we go. 200 series is the exact same procedure to get them to adjust the variator on them. I don't need to adjust the variators on mine, so I'm not going to. But on this tractor you do have to pull the clutch pedal back to get it to go. So that's how I do it on this tractor, and I've never had a problem with it since. Anytime I've done it like that. So we'll pop our spark plug wire back on. There we go. This tractor has not ran in a couple days, so I would probably consider this a cold start. You do need to bend the tabs out on your panel, on your little cover. These tabs do bend in, so you need to bend them back out so it'll hold itself in place. If you don't have a cover, then you're probably better off without one than you are with. One less thing to mess with or remove. If I end up deciding I want to, I'll put gas in the 68 and try taking it out and driving it. But more than likely I'm probably not going to, so I really do need to, so we'll see. Ready? I have the gas shut off, that's why this gas leaks. Ready? Take it out, ride it around, make sure I did it right. As you guys saw, I had to mess with it a little bit to get it to actually want to go. That's normal. I had it running full variator when I parked it, so that's why. When I had it full variator, sometimes you just need to play with it a little bit to get them to want to go like you want them to. That's not because I pulled back on the clutch pedal or anything like that. It did run variator back all the way, and it ran a lot better, and it actually went a lot quicker than it did right after I dropped that engine back in. So that was the problem with that. If you have problems with your variator when you first get on it to test it, push it out. Don't try starting it right away, back all the way. Push it out some, and if it starts to go, pull back on it as you're driving so the motor can spin the variator over. And as it's spinning the variator and you pull back on that lever, the thing will keep spinning, and it'll adjust as you pull it back. Pull back on it slow. And when you get back all the way, if you're still moving, that means it's adjusted good and your belts are good. If it's not moving still when you pull the variator back all the way, that means that something's wrong with it or you adjusted it wrong. So that's my technique to doing it. My 212 does the exact same thing. My other 212 did the exact same thing. So it's nothing to be alarmed about. The 216 does it as well. The 72, when I had it running and I did the variator on it, it did the same thing. The 68 does the exact same thing. It's if you're moving fast and you go immediately slam on the clutch pedal, that's what causes it. So that's why. And sometimes they'll lock up, or the pulley, the idler pulley tensioner on the transmission will hit your what's it called, fender pan. I want to say that's normal. But it could even be your variator needs to be replaced. That's the problem that I had on the 216 when I had to replace the variator. So yeah, nothing big, nothing to worry about, just possibly new belts, something, you need new belts or something else along that line. So just a quick note for you guys, that's all. Don't worry about it if you have that problem. Just pull back, push the variator out until it goes, and then pull back on it while it's spinning over with the engine. Don't pull back on it too fast or else it'll stop and you'll have to mess with it again to get it to go. So just a quick note for you guys if you get what I'm saying. So okay, so back on the topic with the 68, we did that belt. This, I looked at it a little bit more and I found out this is not a John Deere belt, and I highly doubt the rear belt is a John Deere belt either. I don't know what belt this is. It does give me a size on here. It doesn't say who made it. I would like to try and find out who made this belt. It's a 3 or 5/6 apparently. So I guess we're gonna have to take a look at that rear belt as well and find out who made that rear belt. If worst comes to worst, that would explain why my clutch on this tractor has so many problems. And maybe we'll end up replacing the rear belt, I don't know. But that's not a factory John Deere belt. Factory John Deere belts are much wider than this. I showed you the comparison there. My buddy has a good picture on his YouTube channel. I'll have to find that picture. I have it saved on my computer. But John Deere belts, I'm looking at my stash to see if I have another John Deere belt. John Deere belts will be a lot wider than that, and they'll say John Deere on them. They'll have it stamped into them, and it'll be colored on them too, so you'll still be able to see the green like we were able to on that one. They'd be a lot wider, probably about that much wider. Maybe that right there, that much wider. Not much, but it's enough to notice. So I think the next thing that we are going to do on this tractor, I really don't want to put any gas in it just yet, but I do want to swap that carburetor. Oh, speaking of, that's up in the front building. Trying to think if I have another 12 horse carburetor over here, 10 horse carburetor. That is a 10 horse on there, but you could call it a 12 if you wanted to. I think the plan for this engine is it's probably not going to be in commission much longer. I was told what I should do is I should get the one on the patio running and put that engine on here and take this engine off and rebuild it and then put it upstairs to have as an extra engine, which most likely I am going to probably end up doing that. I had that other rebuilt engine that I grabbed off my buddy. He asked me if I wanted it, but the problem with it is it's an older engine and the oil pan mounts to the bolts that go on to the little extensions on the side of the block. So that's the problem with that one. I could drop a other oil pan on it, but it's got an oil fill on them side holders and it just wouldn't work. It'd shoot oil out everywhere. So that's why I don't use that engine. I was going to use that motor on here, but I'm not going to still. Another reason why I don't put fuel in this engine is because I don't trust this fuel system. It likes to leak for God knows what reason. So that's why I haven't put anything in it just yet. So for those of you wondering, that's why. I did fix the fuel system like I said, but I still just don't trust it. So maybe a little bit later on we'll try it out. Brought the patio back over here. I've been keeping it up front. I brought it over here to pull the carburetor off of. I know you guys are going to hate me for doing that, but I do need a carburetor and this has one on it. I'm going to rephrase myself from earlier. When I said that I was going to do a rebuild on this engine, I just mean new rings and new rings. I'm going to pull the old rings out. I'm going to check the bore too, but I'm just going to pull the rings out and put new rings in it. I was told, and I'm about to prove this a lie, I'm going to explain to you guys why. I was told by a few people that you're supposed to put a new rod in your engine when you rebuild it, new ring. Anytime you pull the engine apart, you need to put a new rod in it. That is actually a false statement, and I will explain to you guys why. The reason that is false is because when you pull the engine apart, if the rod is still good and it doesn't have any nicks or anything in it, you can reuse that rod. They say that the rod will fall apart, fracture, and destroy itself, which I still don't understand that, because I had a Tecumseh HH100 around here. I'm trying to remember which, I don't think it's that one. I think it's the other one over there on that other table. But I had one of them, and I put new rings in it, and I also I had the engine pulled apart. I pulled the oil pan off. Actually, I didn't pull the oil pan. I pulled the back plate off of it and everything. And I pulled the piston out of it, and I put new rings in it, but I didn't put a new rod in it. This motor right here has new rings in it, and it's also got a brand new rod. But I think it's that, yeah, I think it is that other engine. The other engine, I put new rings in it too, but I didn't put a new rod in it. And I ran that engine in the round fender for quite a while, and I never had a single problem with that motor running bad or anything. So it's a hoax. You don't have to replace your piston rod if you don't want to. I know a lot of people are going to call me a liar and say a whole bunch of bad stuff, badmouth me. But if the piston rod doesn't have any nicks or anything in it, you should be okay. As long as you don't over rev the engine. When I say over rev it, I mean take it above 5,000 or 6,000 RPM, which you shouldn't be, then you'll be fine. You can reuse your rod if you wanted to. What that is just a scandal. It's the mechanics telling people this because they want to. The bad thing is nowadays everybody's out to screw everybody, and they want to try to sell you as many parts as they can. So they tell people that you need to buy a new rod, or you need to buy this, that, and the other thing. The rod is perfectly fine, or the rod needs replaced. The reason they say that is because they want to sell you parts. That's the thing about people nowadays, is they're out to screw you, okay? They want to sell you new pieces and new parts, and they want to get as much money from you as they can. So they'll say, oh, you need a new piston, you need a new rod, where you take a look at the piston and the rod that you have, and they both look fine. So that's the reason behind that. Like I said, that's in some cases true, but other cases it's not. I've never had an issue with not replacing a rod. The only reason that I replaced the rod in that engine right there is because I was going to put it back together, and I had a friend of mine over here, and he kept harassing me about not wanting to put a rod in it. Now, he wasn't here when I did that motor over there, and I didn't put a new rod in it, and I didn't say a word to him about it either. But I did put new rings in that motor, no new rod, and I didn't have a single problem with that motor. It still turns over and it still runs absolutely just fine. But this one I put a new rod in it because he was here and he threw fits. So that's why. Is there anything else that I want to tell you guys? I don't think so. Nope. So that's why. It's a hoax. Don't fall for it. Look at your piston rods before you decide what you want to do with them. If they're still good, use them. If it's got a crack in it, or if it's got a chip out of it, then I would replace it. But if it looks perfect, I can show you a perfect piston rod over here real quick. This one, do I have? I think I have one over here. This is a good one. Do I have one that's out of a... No. Okay. This is a good one right here. As you can see, this is a good piston rod right here. I could reuse this if I wanted to. Or maybe it's not. Yeah, I think that this... Well, this is a good piston rod the way it is, as you can see. Now, the scoring in there, I can easily fix that, but that's no problem at all. This piston rod is okay. There's no problem with it at all. This actually looks new. This might be a new piston. But, yeah. This piston, apart from that, looks okay. You could probably run it with that and it'd be just fine. As long as it doesn't have a chip taken out of it or a crack in it, you'll be okay to reuse it. I could probably reuse that, both of those setups, and be just fine. What's wrong with this piston? I think this piston's fine. Right? Yeah. But if a mechanic tells you that you need to put a new rod in it, just take a look at the rod. If it looks like this, if it's in good condition like this one is, it's fine. I'm trying to think of if I have a bad rod around here I could, oh. Here's one way. Here's a piston that I had. This should be up on my knick-knack shelf. But yeah, if it's got a big crack taken out of it like that, or if it's split in half, then that means that it needs replaced. This was a bad piston anyway. I gotta remember where the other half of this is. I don't think I have the engine that this came out of anymore. But that was the culprit of... What did happen to that motor? I forget. I didn't own it when it snapped, but I did own that motor and I did get rid of it. This one's out of a Tecumseh. This is out of that engine right there. I don't know if I'd want to... I replaced this because he was here, like I said. If he wasn't here when I was going through that engine, I wouldn't have replaced this rod. It probably wasn't a bad idea too, though, because of the coloring on it. If it's got coloring on it, you probably do want to replace it. Not quite sure what the cause of the coloring on it is, but it's got it, so I can't tell you. This is the engine right here I was talking about. This is the one that I replaced the rings in but left the rod in it. You can see it still turns over just fine. There's nothing wrong with it at all. The reason that I put this engine out of commission is because the head stud broke and I didn't want to drill. I tried drilling it out, but I drilled it crooked, so I couldn't reuse this engine. I think that's about it. So I had this on the round fender and it did run. You guys remember the head gasket blew on it because of that head stud breaking. So that's what was wrong with this engine, and that's why it's sitting here now. So that's all. This engine's over here is fine.
Tonight I'm feeling mean, I'm feeling mean. Tonight I'm feeling mean, I'm feeling mean. Tonight I'm feeling mean, gonna make an ugly scene. Tonight I'm feeling mean, I'm feeling mean. Tonight I'm gonna pick myself a fight. If some deserve it.
I just went over there and I swapped that carburetor, that butterfly piece around, and I'll show you what I was talking about. Right here, this is how it is supposed to be. This is the first one ever that I was able to get that ball put back in, as you can see. I found a technique to doing it. You don't drop the ball in there until you got your finger covering this hole and this slid in. What I did was that side had it ground down on the wrong, that other one had it grind down on the wrong side, so I just went and grabbed a different one of these butterfly holders. Can you guys see that? Oh, I grabbed a different one of these butterfly holders and I put it on there. I also went and I wire wheeled the front of this to clean it up a little bit, so that's why it looks so shiny. And it used to have this stuff on it, as you guys remember. It still looks kind of cloudy, but that's nice and shiny. This is not one of the iSave tractor carburetors. I kind of wish that it was, but those are just expensive. They're just a little bit too expensive for me. I have been asked quite a few times by quite a few different people, what type of grill do I prefer when it comes to these John Deeres? The answer that I give everybody is this type. The type that have these two on top of them, the older 68 grills that have these on them that go into the thing. I don't like the ones like what the patio has where you squeeze them and then you put the things behind here and latch them. I don't like those type of grills. They don't, in my opinion, last as long as they should. But I do have one of them on the 73 and I do have one of them on the patio. So that's what they're supposed to have, so I just leave them alone. The patio's from 69. It's supposed to have this exact same type of grill, but it doesn't. Somebody at some point swapped it around. So that's why it doesn't have that type of grill on it, but it has the other type of grill. So I have not pulled the carburetor off of here yet. As you can see, the carburetor is still on it. Here's the air filter. I wanted to show you guys that I wasn't just doing that. So got a little bit of dirt in it, but it's fine. I think if I'm correct, these older hoods are down lower because this I think this should be a little bit bigger than it is on the older 68s. I'll have to grab the grill off of the 73 and throw it on here. I'm kind of curious to see how it would look. I think it'll go on here at least, I don't know. Let's experiment with this. I really want to find out if it will. I was wondering where that Kippa carburetor went and it went on here. Oh, it will. Let's just look at that and see how it would look. It won't because of the headlights. Well, we can imagine. It's too big. I kind of think I like the green grill a little bit better on it than I do that one. Move you guys back so you can look at it too. It kind of looks like the 73. I think the green grill on this tractor looks cooler than that grill does. That's gonna grow on me, so I better take it off. Put this back over here with the 73. We could throw the white grill on it from the patio, but I don't really want to scratch that grill. So, oh, I should have brought some pliers over. What I did on this engine, I think you guys already saw it on YouTube when I dropped this engine in here. I kind of forgot about it being how I have it set up.
Dream big, 'cause boy, you're gonna make it. Stand tall, there's a higher road to take it. Let go of everything that you know and be wild in the mystery. Yeah. I've been in the darkness for 40 days. I've been searching for holy flames, a sign to light up the way. So can you help me out? Can you help me out? I've been more certain of truth before. Called a righteous man before. Yeah, I've been closer to Jesus before. help me out? Oh, can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out?
Okay, so here is what I have decided to do. I am going to take this throttle body and I'm going to throw it on this carburetor, and I'm going to throw this throttle body on this carburetor. This one is set up for what I need, this one is not. I was going to drill that hole out, but no point because this gets in the way. So I'm just going to go on ahead and do the original plan, and I'm going to swap this throttle body over to that one. I'm going to keep this butterfly with this carburetor and that butterfly with that carburetor, but like I said, that's just how I'm going to do it. I'm going to make it easier on myself, because if I could do it the other way around and just drill that out, I've already got it set up how I need it to be, and it'd be just more of a pain in the ass to do it that way. So this is the way I'm going to do it. I'm just going to take this butterfly loose. Oh my god, these are cheap Chinese crap too. These screws. Okay. That might be too big. Get one. Yeah, the screws that were on the choke plate didn't seem all that good to me either. Don't. Yeah. Smaller bit. Not quite sure where this carburetor is from, but that's where I'm gonna guess it is. I ordered it a while ago. I didn't order it recently, so man, I just don't. Luckily, I don't have to reuse these screws. Damn. Okay, well, that's not it. Oh. What one do I want? Let's try this one. Okay, you guys, I'm going to answer a few questions right now. The other carburetor that I had, I'll tell you the story. The screws that were here were stripped, and also these screws back here were stripped. Now this is the old carburetor. As you can tell, it's got a different flip bowl. What I did was I could not get the screws out that were in here. Now I could have just set it up with the style that had the ball on it and put that on here, but I don't have one of those pieces, and I don't have one of those clips anywhere around here small enough to work. So what I did was, instead of messing with that one, I tried to break the heads off of the two screws that held the butterfly on there. And I did break the head off one of the screws, but the other one was holding on tight, and I had by that time bent this broke. So I thought, you know what, I'm not even going to mess with it anymore, I'm done. So I took the jets and I swapped all the jets from that carburetor into this old carburetor. and I took the main jet, I threw it in here, and I pulled the bowl off that carburetor, and I found it pretty interesting because there was some metal shavings inside the float bowl on that carburetor. Unfortunately, I didn't take any pictures. I dumped it out, but I thought it was pretty interesting to see that there was metal shavings inside of the carburetor. So I won't be buying a carburetor from that company again, and that's for sure. So let me go on ahead and I'll get this carburetor put back onto the 68. I know you're all probably going to ask, why don't I do a valve adjustment while I have it pulled apart? Right now, I really don't think there's a point in doing it right now. The engine runs fine. Now, it wouldn't hurt to do a valve adjustment on it right now, and I probably should. And I probably will end up doing it, but right now I'm just going to leave it how it is. I do want to take the muffler off though, and I do want to do a governor adjustment because that governor just seems interesting to me. So I think we're going to go on ahead and we're going to put the carburetor back on. Once I put the carburetor back on, I'll bring you guys back. We'll take the muffler off of it and we will do a governor adjustment. I'm going to do time lapse for this so that you guys don't have to sit there and listen to me. Or not listen to me, but just so that speed it up a little bit for you guys. So let me go on ahead and put you guys in time lapse and we'll get this carburetor put back. Okay, we are going to do a static governor adjustment. These are 7/16 if I am correct. So we grab a 7/16 wrench. Okay, went in there and I grabbed a couple 7/16 wrenches. Let's go on ahead and see. Yep. So we're going to loosen the one on bottom. The way to do a static governor adjustment is you'll need a pair of pliers, which I forgot to grab. We're going to pull we're not going to pull the governor arm off, but we do want to make sure that it's not, this can freely move with that on there. So let me go grab a pair of pliers and we're going to pull the throttle all the way back. Then with the throttle all the way back, so now with the throttle pulled all the way back, you're going to take your pair of pliers, and there's this right here. This is your governor arm, okay? Pull that back all the way, make sure it's back. You're going to rotate the shaft. Make sure it turns easy. I don't feel it turn. So I may need to pull this apart. This governor assembly. think this rod needs to be replaced anyway because it seemed like it had been bent. It looked like it had been bent. I tried to bend it back. Not quite sure if I was too successful at it or not, but I guess we can do that too. Come on over there. What we can do actually, let's just slide this right off. Yeah, I figured it would be on there pretty tight. Not tight, but just it would be on there and it wouldn't want to come off. That's how they usually are after being on there for 50 years. This engine, I'm not quite sure how old it is, but it came off of a 70s 112, so. And it is a 10 horse, it's not a 12. For those of you wondering, it's only a little 10 horse, so. I don't want to break too much. I just want to get this off. Ready? Somewhat. Still gotta fight it, but it does want to come off now, so that's good. I don't want to hurt it. That's what I'm worried about. Almost. We almost had it. There we go. Now we'll pull that off. And yeah, it does look kind of bent. I think I am gonna replace it. Luckily, I do have another one in the other room, so let me grab it. Wasn't easy, but I did end up getting this off of the other engine. It had been on there for probably just about as long as this one has been on this engine, so let's see, let's take a look at them and just make sure that they're the same. They appear to be the exact same. Cool. Okay, so grab a paper towel or something and clean up that shaft. You do want to be careful when you're doing the governor. Don't use brute force on this poor shaft because it's just a couple little things, little pieces in there. If you bend it, you're gonna ruin your motor. You're gonna ruin your governor and you'll have to replace that. So this is the one that I am replacing with this one. All right? Yeah. Had to check and be sure. That slides on there easy, so that's good. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put my linkage back in it. So, oh, you know what? I should have hooked this spring up before I put that on there. My bad. Don't make that mistake. Hook your spring up first. And I think it was on the bottom one, on the old one, so that's where I'm going to put it on this. There we go. Take my pliers real quick and squeeze that together. Try not to bend my governor arm at the same time. There we go. Now let me throttle it to make sure it's still good, which it is. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my governor shaft, or arm, whatever you wanna call it. I call it the governor shaft. This in the middle, and I'm just gonna turn it closed. Now it's open, off, up, like that, just a little bit. Then you're gonna turn it all the way to the left, like this, all the way to the left. Then you're gonna tighten these two, the bolt and the nut, all the way down onto it. And once you do that, your governor is set. Where's my other wrench? I'm gonna tighten these a little bit, not all the way, just yet, until I know that it's right where I want it. Once I know it's right where I want it, then I'll do it. There is a fellow YouTuber, his name is I Save Tractors. He could explain it a lot better than I can when it comes to the governor and how to adjust it. But I do have the basic idea and I do know what I'm doing. You've seen, I've done it before, so trust me when I say that I know what I'm doing right there. So let's tighten that down. And once we get this tightened down, that should be good to go. Try not to move your arm while you're tightening these down, because you don't want that to go out of adjustment. And I think I just moved it, so. Now I have it back all the way. I wish I had something I could clamp onto it to hold it right there, but I'm gonna have to check it again. So that's clamped down. Check it to make sure it moves. And it does appear to move. Cool. So now, throttle the engine back down, put everything back on it, and then once it's put all back together, we should be able to fire it up, fire it up, fire it up. And I think also what I am going to end up doing is I think I'm going to pull the exhaust off of the patio and I'm going to put it on there for the time being. That will, actually I can't because of the oil dipstick, so never mind, I won't do that. I guess we'll be putting this exhaust back on. I do need to find a different exhaust for this tractor, because this right here blows right at the PTO shaft. So that's not good. You can see this is all black right here. That's the soot from this, so that's not good. So I do need to do something about that, and that will be done here soon whenever I get around to making my own little muffler for this engine, or for this tractor. Got the 68 filled up with go-go juice. I don't see anything leaking right now, so I'd say that's a good sign. Check under here too. Nope. Maybe. Nope. Doesn't look like it's getting gas. Okay, let's try it out. We're gonna have to prime it first. Alright, so we'll spin it over a little bit. Then when we start seeing gas, that's when we know it's getting gas. Ready? I think that pump on here might need to be replaced. Ready? Did I ever do it? Yeah, I did. Alright. Shut off the lights. Ready? Give that starter a break. I still don't see anything leaking, so that's good. It is pulling. I think that fuel pump might need to be replaced. It doesn't seem like it's pulling too well. Let that sit here for a little bit and then we'll try cranking it over again so it can get some gas into itself. Okay, let's go on ahead and try it now. Ready? Cool. Might need throttled up. Yeah, I already see the gas leak. So it is leaking. Again. Why and where? It's coming from. It's not a very fast leak, but it's only doing it when it's running. I think that fuel pump is needing to be replaced. That might be next. Yes, it appears I do. So I'm gonna have to do something. I'm gonna clean this out probably in the ultrasonic cleaner because it don't seem to work right now. Then hopefully once I put it in there, it'll decide to work. So maybe we'll do that here next. But for now, I want to try to see if it runs and make sure that it runs good with that governor adjustment I did. So let me put this in the ultrasonic cleaner for a little bit and then I'll be back. I put that pump in the ultrasonic cleaner. I don't know if you hear it or not. Let's try and start this thing up again and see if we can get it to idle. Ready? Go grab a screwdriver here quick. leaks a lot, but it runs a lot better. Let's take it out and try driving it. That's not good. So I think apparently when I put the engine back, when I put the belt back on there and I put everything together, the belt's not loosening for whatever reason. It's the transmission, the clutch is staying engaged. So I got to look at it and try to find out what's going on. That belt might not work on there, or we may need to adjust the variator again. Okay, let's go on ahead and we'll take a look at this belt. For whatever reason, it's still sticking, and that's not good. It's loose. So it's loose, but for whatever reason, the engine is still spinning it over. Oh, I see. Okay, I think I just found out why. I think I had it on this pulley right here. Or I think it might have got caught on that. Let's try it again. You notice that? It's still moving, the belt. I wonder if it's, let's just try starting it up again. I have no idea what's going on with that belt, but I'm really curious to find out now. It is I can tell you right now, it is loosening. See? It is loosening up on there, but it's touching. And I did test it when I have the belt. It does get pretty tight on there. So, I'm not quite sure what the deal is with that. Let me pull you guys back. We'll try starting it up again and see if it does it. Ready? Let's try it and see. I'm not quite sure what it could be. I do have a guess, but we'll find out later. Okay, so what I noticed is when you do it with the engine off, you go to start the engine first, it doesn't do it. But when it's sitting, when you let off the clutch and it starts to spin the belt and then you let off, it keeps spinning. I think what's happening is it's just on there ever so slightly. The variator might need to be adjusted, but it seems like it's just on there ever so slightly that it's catching it still. So I'm not quite sure why it's still catching it, but variator might need to be adjusted, but yet again it might be a belt problem. So let me adjust the variator on here and then I'll bring you guys back. Okay, so here's what I have done. I ended up taking it and I adjusted the variator. I also ended up adjusting the carburetor because I forgot to earlier. So maybe that'll do something about our leak that we're having up in the front, because it may have just been getting too much gas. So let's go on ahead and try it now and make sure that, let's just see if it works or not. Ready? I doubt it's the belt. I'm trying to think of what it could be. I think I've limited it down to a couple things. It could possibly be the belt is too tight, or the motor might be up or too far up than it should be. That's one of the things it could be, because the motor isn't in the same place that the Tecumseh was. The Tecumseh was in a different place. Now, when I say different place, I mean the Tecumseh was smaller than the Kohler is. So it could possibly just be that it's up too far, or it might need to move back a little bit. So not sure. I'd consider pulling the belt off something else and trying it, but let me think about it here for a little bit and decide what I want to do before I start doing things and regret it. Let's do a science experiment just to try something. I'm going to take it and I'm going to put it in gear. Then I'm going to start the engine. Then we'll drive it outside. Then I'll let on the clutch and we'll see if it stops, or if I need to, or if it'll keep going. So let's find out and see. I know you guys want to see me drive it out of there, but in the event that I can't stop to adjust the camera, I'm just going to leave it set right here so that way you guys can see me go up and down the driveway with it. try to get it on the pad before I adjust it. I think a carburetor adjustment is needed. Try to see if it'll start. Wonder why it died earlier. Could have just been running rich. Let's find out. Ready? If it'll start. I think the pump lost its prime. Let's do this. I think the pump lost its prime, so that's probably what happened. So now maybe. When I put the new pump on it, it might work. Ready? I did hear it. It is trying to start. We might not be having a fuel pump problem. Well, it's obvious we are, but we may be having a carburetor problem. Let's take it back inside. We'll pull the air filter off and we'll see what that looks like. I wish I could say we made it all the way back. I mean, we kind of could. Well, we kind of could, but at the same time, we kind of can't. You know what? Let's be like Weston Chaplin. Let's just say we made it back. We made it back to the shop. Okay, so we made it back to the shop with the 68. As you guys all can see, it's here. Looking for my screwdriver, and I think I sat over here. So let's go on ahead and we'll pop this grill off. See, I can already see it getting all excited and leaking. Let's find out. Don't look wet. That looks wet though. It did look like the back of the air filter might have been wet. So yeah, I think it's pissing it back into the air filter. I wonder why that is. Apparently it has a thing right there, so I could flip this over if I wanted to, and I probably will. Let's try and start it and just watch it and see if it spits more out or not. Let me get on this side so I can see it a little bit better. That and not have the exhaust right there in between my legs. Ready? not leaking now. Let's adjust the carburetor. That's funny because that's all the way closed. Brought it out here to get it out of the shop because it was starting to flood me out with smoke, and look at that. We got gas gushing out. That's not good. I'm trying to figure out what's causing that because it wasn't doing that earlier. So the engine only wants to run with the carburetor all the way closed. Okay? That's the first thing I noticed. That's with it all the way closed. I had it open earlier and it wasn't leaking. And as you can see right now, it's leaking. So with that being said, something about that is just not right. What the deal is with it, I'm not 100% positive on, but I can tell you right now it should not be doing that. So, whether the cause of it is it's running at the jet closed all the way, or if it's the carburetor, I'm not sure. It's running a lot better though with those new jets. So I did forget to mention, I took the needle out of the new carburetor and the float, and I stuck them in this carburetor. I almost wonder if that could be the cause, having that new needle in there without replacing that seat. I don't know. But it's not flooding over, it's just doing it when it's running. I almost wonder if that could be the case. I don't know. Let's start it back up and we'll just drive it up and down the driveway a few times, try to figure something out while we're driving it, make sure the variator works fine and everything. We'll take it around back here in a bit and try driving it up the hill back behind the house. See how it does. There's a swimming pool now on the one that we used to always use, so hold gear. Ready? Go. It's always in this one spot. I thought it was down at least. Is I had it running full throttle up the driveway and then back down. On the way back down the driveway is when it ran real good. It started to run good. Then we got to that spot right there where we died last time, and it died again. Now, whether that's the jet causing that problem or not, I'm not 100% sure. It just don't make sense to me. Ready? What I think the problem is the pump losing its prime. throttled down the engine, and that's when it died. So I think the ultrasonic cleaner finished up, so we'll have to throw that pump on here and see how that does. Is there anything else I want to do before we throw that on here? I don't think so. So that's the plan for right now. Let me bring this in the shop. Let the shop air out first, then we'll bring it in. I do notice a hell lot of a difference when it comes to that new belt that I put on there. Not new, but new to it. Before, it would only go if the variator was out all the way no matter what. Even with the new variator that I put on it, because the other one seemed kind of iffy. And I put this new variator on it and it still had the same problem. Now, with that other belt on there, yeah, I notice night and day difference. You can drive it now with the variator back all the way. It'll go. It used to be it would only drive if the clutch pedal was up in line with the deck lift about where it is right now. So that's a good thing that it decided it wanted to work now. It was straight up in a line, and it was always a pain to push it down when it was up in a straight line. So that's good. Now it finally wants to, it engages almost as soon as you let off the clutch. You could have the clutch up just a little bit and it'll engage. So that's good. That means I've got it just about where I want it. Now, that's not the best way to have it, but it's on there now and it does a lot better than it did before. You guys are all probably wondering what I think the reason behind our mystery leak is. I think the reason is the float. I might need to pull that carburetor back apart and find out what's going on with that. That's not too big of a deal. And I do need to fix it, but I do think I have an idea on what is causing it. I think all that's causing it is the needle that I put in just is not seating with the seat. So I think that's going to be the next thing I do on this track, on this engine carburetor. I think that is just about it for stuff I need to show. But we did get it running a lot better. As you guys can see, we did solve the issue with the variator and why it was having so many problems. So, and I did it without help. So, thank you guys for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. 97%, actually I think 95% of the people who watch my videos are not subscribed. So please consider hitting that subscribe button, because it tells YouTube that I exist, and it tells them I do a pretty good job with my videos and other people need to watch them. The number has gone down of people not subscribed, so thank you guys for subscribing. It really means a lot to me. I know I talk about that quite a bit, but it does mean a lot to me, because I do like to make these videos for you guys, and I do like to help you all out. And I like seeing the comments, people saying thank you so much for showing this. And there was a guy who left me a comment yesterday, thank you for making this video. I will definitely be subscribing to you here today. So thank you guys for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next video. Stay tuned.